Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. This is your this is your dreamy dreamland with Sensei Al Bob. I am your sensei. We are here to tell you a story, and this chat is simply for your entertainment and your edification. It is not a channel for snowflakes, so any infantile minds need to leave right now. Right? Any mind that be open and feel what's going on, then you need to go. If you're here to expand your heart in love's co creation, hey there, Len. Hello, Jane. So, um, here it is, like day 18 of my monkdom, right? And I'm here with John, and still like 4 inches of solid ice out there. It's getting warmer. The sun's out a little bit, but we're on the north side of the hill, so the melting of the ice is slow. It's supposed to start raining tonight and tomorrow and Friday, and hopefully that'll get rid of it. My phone is not working. Well, this is the only device that is working, and it too is kind of clunky, and that's what I deal with. I was talking to John, and John is basically saying, "Oh, you can," and I'm a Southern man, I'm not so much a Southern man. A good Southern man, a good, a, you know, definition or showing of what a Southern man is. Someone like Neil Young, who Southern man got to get my ears closed. Oh, all against Spotify and Joe Rogan. So I don't know. Me, myself, and I, we all just love you all. I'm not really, but I watch people with closed minds who don't even want to discuss things. It's like, really? And so wherever we are, so what is time? Here we are in time, right? And time is this made up linear experience, right? And what is the made up linear experience? It is, we were put in it because we are spirits, and so I've been stuck up here, and people say, oh, you should do this, you should do that, blah blah blah, and that's right. And what's interesting is the more access I have to people telling me what I should do, um, the devices fall to the wayside. But it's okay because as soon as I get down, I can go see my phone guy. He my provider, and I've had this old phone for so long. I know they'll give me a new one. They give you upgrades, right? Because they want a better spy device, right? And so anyway, it's all good. Whatever it is, it's a lesson to me to, open my mind, take my time, do my best, be the best person I can be, do the best goodness I can do, and move forward. And that's what this channel is all about, doing good. Right? And yes, I poke fun at things, myself included, and with each year. And so here I am. Here it is, February 2nd. It's my birthday month, and I'm experiencing, getting old. My dad, he died at 98. And so he, I took care of my folks for the last 28 years of their lives. And when I first started doing it, they were in their mid 70s. And I thought, sure, I'll take care of them. They'll be dead in a few years, right? Well, I took such good care of them, they lived another 28 years. And they had a lot of change. They had a lot of cash. So, but when they died, they lost, in '08, they lost 3/4 of their net worth. And, that in itself, I think, freaked them out enough to kill them. My mom, she couldn't care less. She died in three. She just died when she died. And she died my mom always did everything her way, right? And she was really good at projecting blame and this and that on, and mostly my dad. She was good at it. And she married him because she knew that she could manipulate him any way she wanted. And he was like, big handsome movie star kind of guy, football star. When she married him, he was a major. And she enjoyed that life for a good, 20 years of the military thing. And then she got him to quit and go into business and make millions of dollars, right? But she did. But he wasn't like. And a really interesting thing is guys like Elon Musk and Jeffrey Bezos. So they got $1 billion, lots of money, right? Well, it's paper money. It's worthless. It's like Zilcho. And it's going to be interesting because they've been set up. They have no idea. They were told that, they were special. They were entitled. They were blah, blah, blah. And pretty much anyone who is famous and in the spotlight is just ready to be taken out, right? Just roasted. And I've been around those people my whole life, and I've watched, on every level. I have a godfather who's a cardinal, just a few hats from being pope. And he had his, he constantly was, there was war going on in the Vatican, right? And what's quite interesting is, last few shows, we kind of talked a little bit about good and evil. And I said, there is no such a thing as good and evil. Well, that's like the big picture, the picture out of time, because, the great maker made everything good and evil. And good and evil is, manufacturing of this timeline, right? And we have no idea. Most people have no idea that parallel universes are like right here. We are wearing these blinders so we can't see them, right? We can't be, there's something about rubbing your head that's really nice. Rubbing your own body. I learned to be a physical therapist and an acupuncturist and a massage therapist and many things in the healing world, right? And the more you can get this avatar connected to the higher realms, and there's a really good site called GG Gun. So I can't use my phone anymore to show you things until I get it fixed, because it's about dead. So I'm just letting it lie in state. So Jane and Lynn, and everyone else, you need to get a hold of me if you wish to talk to me. At the dudeawake42@gmail. Dudeawake42@gmail. Right. So, and that's kind of where we're at on this storyline. Is that I was watching yesterday's show, and it bebopped all over the place, because I'm on the bebop, right? And I tell stories that way, meaning it's like a shotgun blast, but they're all, bang, they're all out there, all these strings are there, and then I kind of tie them together towards the end of the show. And I'm going to try and be a little more. The strings will all be out there, but have them a little more connected tissue there. So this show is about time, right? Where are we in time, right? So Jane, Lynn, you're the two people who are there. Come on. What do you think time is? I'm going to also focus on trying to be more, hey, come on, adepts, come on, cadre, speak to this, open your hearts, open your minds, because that's what I'm here to do, So this is a little more classroom oriented here on the old YouTube. And again, this show ain't for infantile minds. It's for like these two women here are mammoth intellects, you know, mammoth hearts, mammoth empathy. And that's what we were given, and that's where we should go. Time is an illusion. Yes, we are light speed. Yep, yep, yep. So, and that's light speed is even slow because the Big Bang happened. I mean, they with you know um, the new physics, string theory and quantum theory, they're realizing that everything is all at once. In quantum travel, you don't even need. I mean, to go. The distances in the universe are so wide, not even going at light speed, right? Is like slow, right? Even going at warp, which is like way faster than light, right? So quantum travel is like instantaneous. You were there at the same time. It's like, you were there at the same time. And that's because whatever the Big Bang was, I mean, all that's just a title that we can give it so we can have some kind of conception of what it is. And it's like bang, and that was it. Yeah, in the Bible, in the good book, it says, I am the beginning and the end, right? Meaning it's Zing. That's what it is. At least in this timeline of experience of our sandbox. We're in a sandbox. We're here. We're not even as a soul. We're not this mud puppet, right? And we're not even our soul. Our soul is the server in our Akashic record. What we are is our spirit. What is in our sanctuary of our own choosing. So, Jane and Lynn, have you been meditating? Have you been able to visualize going into state and seeing yourself in spirit and seeing your sanctuary of your own choosing? That's kind of what heaven is, your sanctuary of your own choosing. So since you can go there anytime you want, you can go to heaven anytime you want. You can be with the great maker. You can be with anything, anyone, any place, any time in your sanctuary of your own choosing, right? You go into your library, your Akashic record, which is simply your subconscious, right? And so you go through your imaginary mirror, right? So if you close your eyes, take a big spread, breathe in that prana, be grounded through your chi, bang, there, you got your eyes closed, you see your imaginary mirror, you walk through that great silvery light, and bang, you're in your sanctuary, not your sanctuary, you're in your library, your Akashic record, right? You sit down at your reading table, your librarian brings your Akashic record, to the left of your librarian is your animal totem, the left ear animal totem is your guardian angel. See them clearly. They're your spirit guides. You open up the book to the two blank pages. You put your right hand on the right page, your left hand on the left page, and you evacuate all of that anger, all of that fear, all of I have lucid dreams often. I can make myself dream about something if I try. Exactly. And you do. You don't try, you do. The trying is just saying, "Oh, I don't, I want to do it, but I don't want to do it right now, and so I'm just going to try." But because every time you do it, you do it. That little saying of of the sneakers guys, just do it. That's a great, just do it. You're not perfect. You don't have to be perfect. Just doing your best. Bingo. So there you are. So you go into dream time. You have lucid dreams, meditation hall of records like Alexander. Yep. Had to overcome bodily ills. It's all an illusion. Only thing true is love. Yep, exactly. And you keep that in your heart. Keep that surrounding you. That's your force field. Love is your force field. And you can go do anything. Just do it. Do it your best. And you're going to be, you are amazing. You guys are already doing that. And I'm just here to give you, little support. I'm your cheerleader, Griot Sensei Albot, right? So I'm here to do that. And just one of you, two of you here is great. We're doing great here, right? So in this chat, you can, as I am right now, in state. So come on, let's go into there. So we put a right hand on the right page and the left hand on the left page, and you evacuate all that anger, all that self-doubt, all that fear, all that angst, right? And it's now, all that black goo is on the pages, like, and someone's, even this thing is having its issues. And so you eliminate all of that, and it's a Rorschach. You see like an ink blot there, right? So close the book and open up to the same page, and bingo, now it's the big screen and the 28 little screens all around it. So see what's on that big screen. See what your fear is. See what your angst is. Fear is an illusion. All you have to do is face it. When you go toe-to-toe with love in your heart, nothing can hurt you. Period. That's it. So I've been watching, there's this thing, a video link, like a platform that shows old TV shows. And they shows that, like, had one series, and it's a show called Almost Human, quite excellent. Another one, Dresden. It's Harry Dresden, who's a wizard, and in Chicago, and it's like a murder mystery thing, but it's all about, and it's true. The within this TV show, the dynamic is, all that is evil is black magic, all that is good is white magic, right? And it's kind of, a metaphor for the good and evil conflict, right? And both those shows, they were very good. And the other one was about, in 2048, AI is to the point where they, have sentient robots, right? That are just like human beings. And they have genetically engineered people who are perfect, right? And so and they have a wall, and, there is the darker, really terrible, gangster, everything, terrorist, blah, 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 is on the other side of the wall. And so both of these have real interesting dualities, pictures of duality. And I've seen other shows, and it was quite interesting that virtually everything on the TV that made it onto TV and lasted, 2 or 3 seasons. And that, look at Star Trek, changed the freaking world, and it only lasted 3 seasons. So that's, and there's now the platform of the internet and people on YouTube, and you have people like Joe Rogan, who, he gets more people watching on 3 hours of video, a podcast a day, than all the rest of, mainstream media gets in a week, right? And so why is that? It's because he's the only guy. And so, everybody's trying, not everybody, but a lot of the mainstream, you can see who's mainstream, and that's the beauty of what's going on in our lives right here, right in front of us. Everything is very right there. There is no, the curtain has been torn away, and we're seeing it all play out right in front of us. The last, 500,000 years of history that we kind of have is being played out right in front of us. The whole idea that this thing is, there is no time, that because we're watching whole millenniums, go down right in front of us every freaking day. Yeah, exactly, for cash. And that's sad because, you know, what they were back in the day. And it just basically shows you that folks who go big time, they are just poster children. And no matter how, like Joni Mitchell is truly amazing artist, and she tried her best to be the true amazing artist. And, she had a really hard early life. Her parents kind of, as a child, left her. She was in a nunnery where she really got, what I experienced. See, the things I experienced, they happen like instantaneous, like the nun. Instead of like suffering through, a lifetime of, Catholicism's control and viciousness. Not to say all Catholicism is evil and bad. It's not. It's like everything else. There's like good and bad. My godfather was the same thing. He was mostly good, but he was a cardinal, so he knew all of that stuff, and that's why he had grabbed me, because he saw me in me somebody who couldn't be tainted, couldn't be. Yeah, and they tried to murder me a number of times, and here I am, emotional abuse. Yeah. So you understand what it is. Hey there, Jamie. And so we're talking about time, Jamie, and that the illusion of time is like, like so the Big Bang, bang, and in quantum physics, it's kind of showing that, Newton said it was like a big machine, and God wound it up, and it's like unwinding. And that was, Newton's three laws of inertia, and so it's things are slowing down, cooling off, and then it's going to die, right? And it's a zillion years into the future. But no, they've got devices. They first discovered dark matter, and then they realized, oh, what is? It's not really that. What it really is that it's still zipping along way away from us. Just it's not cooling down. It's not slowing down. It's actually speeding up. And why is it speeding up? Because we are speeding up to what I called it last year. I spoke of the big splat, right? The big splat, and we have these little splats of like economic crashes, wars, catastrophes, asteroids hitting the planet. Those are little splats. The big splat is like boom, and this little, basically what it is the space that we were in. Here's the alpha, here's the omega, and it's like closing in. Bango, and we're gonna have another, big bang, and we will be something else. Let's see. Couldn't find you on Instagram unless you live near Kingston. No, I'm not on. I don't know who you're talking to, Jane. Whether you're talking to Jamie or me, but the only platform on is YouTube, right? And the only way you can get a hold of me is the dude awake 42 at Gmail. Now my phones don't work, and so I'm down to this. And this little thing is got issues too. And so again, I would go back. I have Jamie motivated me to look at my past shows when I was looking for the bald guy. Just threw up there, and there's a lot of good stuff. And I urge you all to go through it and see what shows you like and put it on, a thumb drive, even optical, CD-ROM, your hard drive, whatever. But all of this is going away, and I would say in this year. And the aliens are going to invade. We're going to have, a Independence Day, but it's all going to be scripted. It's all a movie screen. And so that's why going into state, getting really good at going into state, and having lucid dreams. There's many tools. Just sharpen, the point of your spear, so you can deal with all of this, navigate it. You can't fight this. You can navigate it. The only way you can navigate this is with love, right? Love's co-creation, right? You look at Wilhelm Reich, right? he discovered orgone energy, which is, if you read Rudolf Steiner's work, the Bauhaus, the Nikola Tesla, other folks of that, the guy who wrote Wisdom's Overself, Joseph Campbell didn't like that book. That guy is Robert, no, whatever his name is. But Joseph Campbell's works, really, really good. H.G. Wells' book, The Outline of History, excellent. His next book is Things to Come. Those two books, I think, are H.G.'s best work. It's said, creation is created and dissolved 22 trillion times a second. Yep. It gives creation animation. Yes. May yoga slow their minds to come closer to the source, like the God intoxicated masses. Slowed minds. Yep. And that's the lower vibration of the material of the mud puppet, right? And again, none of these things are good or bad. They are tools. Being a mud puppet is, we're put here, this is a sandbox to learn how to navigate the spirit, not the soul, the spirit. Yep. So, that's why I don't believe in anything, and I don't disbelieve anything. The only thing I do have is faith in love's co-creation, and that's why you, my cadre, my adepts, you are the physical ramification of love's co-creation right there on the live chat. And to talk to me, which I would love to talk more personally, one-on-one, is on the dudeawake42@gmail. While all this is still here, it's like dwindling, and what it's doing is, if we almost don't need this, facade of the electronic connection, if we could communicate and be with each other in our Akashic records, and because each of us can go down the chimney and sit in those nice easy chairs and have tea and crumpets with each other. And we can also go play in each other's, because that sanctuary of your own choosing, it's the same sanctuary that we all come from. That's called heaven, and that's why I keep saying that when people of whatever faith go on about heaven and hell, is that no, everyone's going to get to go. Everyone is all our relations. Everything is all our relations, not just us humans. All the animals, all the phyla, all the plants, we're all connected. When we feel that, when we can do that. And that's why the school here is so amazing, is that it is one of those ley lines of love's co-creation. And at the big, the deep green is the same thing. It's one of those things. And both of these things are being, attacked and chewed up and eaten up. And the hill here, to protect itself, it just gives everyone what it wants. And most people are so disconcerted that, they have an issue. Let's see. Yep. They said that mind of God stands still, mass are slowed, some are walking, but most are running. Yep. Sounds like a line from Gil Scott Heron. Trucker convoy. Again, now those guys and gals who are in that truck, that's pretty amazing. Like 100,000 trucks going across, Canada. But what is that going to do? Here's a good story. So when I was, young, Vietnam War breaks out. So, 1963, Jack gets whacked, right? And we have been in Vietnam in 1963 for over 20 years. We were in Vietnam in 1943, right, during World War II, right? Why Korea and that whole Asian coast, and China included, whacked off is that all the weapons that we had brought to the Pacific to attack Japan once we dropped the bombs and they kind of, okay, we're done, was we occupied Japan, and we're still there. We have like 100. We have lots of people in Okinawa, right? And so we have big naval bases there. We have nuclear weapons there. It's supposed to be their umbrella protection, but they could take care of themselves very nicely, right? Their technology. So after that, after they resigned, they went back making watches and toaster ovens, and they were the China before us. They developed their own technology. They came over and studied everything we did. They took as much of it back to their own land, and then they did their own thing. Meaning, they are the leaders in AI. I mean, you just have to look at their sex robots. They are like human beings. They look like human beings. They can do everything a human being can do. They can talk to you, feel, be empathetic, all the rest, right? Still a machine, but it bucks really good, And so, and it can be empathetic and take care of you, meaning their biggest, it isn't just sex robots, but their biggest market in those high-end robots is for old people, take care of old people, because no one's taking care of the old people. So, so into World War II, we had all these weapons, and we sent them to Korea. We caused the North-South split. We put the guy, so I'm just into, normally they don't start bothering me until I'm on my third or fourth hour. They're like in here at 32 minutes. So I would say you need to pray for your sensei, Bob. Give me a nice bubble of protective light, and so I can navigate through all this, because I can do it, but it's a lot easier if I have people going along for the ride. And if you do that, if you go into state and visualize me, or vivid dreaming, when you have vivid active dreams, and all of you do, see me with you there. You don't need the internet. See me in your dreams. That's why do you think I call this dreamy dream time, right? Pretty much everything I do for a reason. I'm a long, because I see everything. I see the alpha and the omega. So even though I'm right here talking to you, I've been thinking about this for a billion years, right? And that's why I'm here. I was picked up by Bob in a parking lot in Las Vegas on another dimension and sent here to do this job, right? Others were basically, I volunteered, and others kind of, well, they volunteered, but they thought it was going to be cool and gravy. They're going to be in the poster boy. Then they realized it was going to be difficult, and yes, they would have, in Spider-Man, when his uncle, before he gets murdered, tells Mr. Parker, young Parker, that with great gifts come responsibility, and that's, you just look, all the people who've been gifted with what they got, how responsible are they with it? Like the politicians, the people who are rich, all those poster guys of the Silicon Valley. Do any of them, like all these investment bankers that are crushing our economy and the world's economy, and making billions of people's lives misery? So they give $10 million to some thing. Well, that doesn't quite. If you're stealing $1 trillion and you only give $10 million, even if you give it $1 billion, it's like the Sattlers, the guys who brought us OxyContin and killed 300. OxyContin killed close to 3 million people, and all they got was a fine of $6, and they made close to $500 billion, and all they got was a fine of $6 billion. That's like a accounting rounding off error, And when I constantly talk about people who are, so Christian-y, you're all going to hell. I'm born again. I'm going to heaven. No, I'm sorry. That, your relationship in your spirit is not transactional. You can't, in the Roman Catholic, you go to confession and, you tell the priest, why do you think it's so dark in there? Because that priest in there masturbating while you're telling them all the sins you did. And then do 4 Hail Marys and Our Father, right? I mean, I say the rosary 5 or 6 times a day in my heart. It's not because I'm scared I'm going to hell. I mean, we're living in hell, and heaven at the same time. Let's see. Mass are a fascinating study. There are about most all in India, allegedly. Sale Mass, Jane, let's see. Sending his beautiful blue bubble of protection to you. Thank you. Let's see. Jane, no, the name Mass are must, well known in the East as holy men, women, saints. Yep. Mm-hmm. There's an ongoing class action with Oxley against the Sadler family. Yeah. And they basically already, the judge had already agreed because they went, oh, we are bankrupt now. They took all their money into their own hidden places and, so they can't be attacked. And by giving that $6 billion to everybody, they said, okay, here's $6 billion for putting in this account. You guys fight over it. We're going over here. And by us doing that, by the way, you can never sue us again. You can't get any of our records, right? So that's how it is. But it none of that matters. What matters is how you, the individual, how you, do your best in every day in every way, how you spread love's co-creation, how you serve one love of the we and me, all our relations, and you do your best, realizing that you're not perfect. Don't get upset. Don't, beat yourself up because you're not perfect. Because, that's why John is the canary in the coal mine. And he is, and as Anthony calls him, the people's saint of truth. He really is, because you can see right in front of you on his, why is his live chats, he doesn't do live chat. Well, he does. Why does his YouTube not go anywhere? Because 2 reasons. One, he is, oh, they're keeping me down. Well, actually, they are, because if enough people were to watch him, he would wake people up just by watching him be, tormented and asleep, right? They would see in real time what's going on with the whole freaking world. He's that one example. He is the people's saint of truth, Let me start it on what I've seen us do. Okay, I won't get started. And so, when I first got all of this that I have, the people, well, this is going to be really painful. We're going to have to, I said, no, I'm not taking any. What? It's you going to, I said, no, sorry, I'm not going to do it. And it was, pain's a good thing if you know what it is and what it's supposed to be used for. Everything has a positive or negative use, right? So pain is to keep you aware of what your body's doing, what your mud puppet's doing, right? If you want to keep going on in it, right? So, for 10 years, I worked for the corporate desperate lawyers, and, I gained 200 pounds by living their lifestyle. And again, I don't regret an instant of that, right? Because it brought me to a place where I realized a great deal of, well, of course, I had to die in a plate of spaghetti, and I had to be being rolled into a place where they're going to cut me up and like, a piece of bologna, and bang, so here I am. So what it forced me to do is all of my sensory net get sharpened, right? And to, really, 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 let's see if I push this weight thing, what it does. Okay, let's see if that works. Anyway, so every time I blip out of here, that's me being attacked. You know, so but that's okay because again, I have all those shows that you can go back and watch, and they're all each a shamanic ceremony. Like yesterday, I kind of just went through them and put my phone up, and then after I did that, trying to show you all those different ceremonies, my phone went not going to work anymore. Sorry, So that's where it's at, with that, and it's just whittling away the edifice. So you're at a point you're not going to need this anymore. You and I, you close your eyes, you go into state, bingo, there I am, this, golden glowing spirit, right? And I'll be sitting on that easy chair in your Akashic record there by the fire. And we can obtain crumpets. And then we can go hand in hand into your sanctuary of your own choosing, or you can just go into your sanctuary of your own choosing, go to the great meadow where your picnic blanket is always awaiting you with your picnic basket of anything you want to take part of. And in front of you is your big gazebo. And you want to see me, just go up those stairs, face the great water, the great link of truth and love. One toe in there, and you'll know all you need to know. Everything will be brought to, because you'll be part of the Great Link, so you'll know all that the Great Link knows. And, but you face that, and you say, I want to see Sensei Al Bob, turn 180, there I am. Because you'll be, turn 180 from the Great Link, you'll be facing the great meadow of love's co-creation through art and creativity. And there I am, right? So that's why I showed you those things last night, those little things off my phone of different shows. I kept saying, see, this is art, because art is the tool in the physical sense. You want to get closer and closer to the understanding of love's co-creation. You create art, because the only way you can create anything is in co-creation with love, right? That twisted double helix is love's co-creation. Let's see. Education is key. I'll testify to that. Yep. He still has his legs because he had knowledge. Right. And the education is not so much how many degrees you have, what institution you went to. I got more degrees than a thermometer, but I got it, not in the matriculation of being my head put in a vice and my brains squeezed like orange juice. No, I went to all these institutions because where they were hiding. I found the best teachers, and I just stayed at their feet and served understanding of love's co-creation. And then when they either were done with me or I was done with them, I moved on, and I still do that. And I learn, from everything I go, and that's the whole thing about knowledge. It's not a book you read or anything. It's what you have every day in every way. You take that piece of the earth and make it stronger by keeping your mind open, not having a particular political, social, religious, economic agenda. Those are all illusions and delusions, right? And those delusions lead to the dissing of ease. And what is the dissing of ease? Ease is that love's flow, right? And to diss it, disrupt it, destroy it. You can't destroy it, but you can kind of disrupt it in yourself. And that disruption can disrupt other people. And it's like I was talking about being that pebble in the pond of love's co-creation, not to disrupt, but to give it energy. The more people are that little pebble, bringing love to all of us around us, brings forth a strength of love's co-creation. And by doing that, that's how you learn. By being your best self in every day and every way, and everything you do your best. And so, with my phone not working, all this stuff kind of going down around me, that's okay. Like, it's okay. And if you, get a hold of me at the Dude Awake 42 at Gmail, the Dude Awake 42 at Gmail, Dude Awake 42 at Gmail, all lowercase, all one thing. You will, not only by doing so, and if you've already done it and I'm not responding, it's only because I get a ton of spam on that every day. I have to kind of go through it to find you. So if you don't hear if you've already got a hold of me and I don't respond or I haven't responded in a while, say, here I am again, come back, and the Dude Awake 42 at Gmail. And my phones don't work anymore, at least for the moment. So I can't do WhatsApp. I can't do any of those platforms, right? Which is in a way good because it's going to focus me more and more on A, doing this, and B, writing, right? So if you get a hold of me at the Gmail, I can send you my writings, my novels. And that too is, I want to get them out, So people have them because some people can get on xratted.blogspot.com or that's blogspot.com. And the name of my site is GRIOTTE Publishing, right? PUBLISHING. And now some people seem to be able to get there, and a lot of people can't. So, but if you get a hold of me at the Dude Awake 42 at Gmail, I can then just send you, these things through the email. So love to do it because they too are pretty amazing shamanic ceremonies in themselves, right? And there's a lot of, the written word is a spell, right? And again, in magic, there's good and bad, light and dark. And my stories are, since they're written in English, they are spells, but I understand the spell of it all. And so people go, well, he can't read. Oh, it's a run-on sentence. This is, blah, blah, blah about my grammar. But I do it on purpose. If you like, puzzles, then you will like my reading because it's a great story, just like my stories here are great stories, but they're written and there's and this, when I tell you a story, it's a shamanic ceremony. So you're listening to it and it's going in your ears, into your, into this, your bread pan, and then up into your Akashic record. And then if you go into your record and look at the story I told, there you will see all the energetics I put into it. Pleasure's mine. Message retract. Let's see. Thank you, Jane. Oh, Jamie. Let's see. Pleasure. Anyway, thank you for the opportunity. Education is the key. Don't work. Be happy. Your stream is buffering here in Ireland. It's buffering everywhere. Maybe just here. No. Anthony, there's the ant. And Antonio. Let's see. Antonio, I won't be able to call you. My phone is down. Having insightful, fun chat. Country love. But again, everyone should just get a hold of me at the Dude Awake 42 at Gmail because that seems to be still working. And let's see. So anyway, we're talking about time here, and insightful, fun chat, cadre. Love. So you're leaving us, Jamie? Anyway, so as I said, let's see. Hey, Anthony, happy days. Catch up with each other. build an internal thing. I'd love to build a platform that we could all go to and not have to, because it's not. See, the thing about the internet, it's a whole separate thing from the platforms. Platform, YouTube, Google, Facebook, all those guys can control whatever the heck they want to. It's their platform. If we have our own platform, we can, not be bothered by that, right? And it's going to be difficult for them to take down the internet, right? Um, so when they do, they will take down pretty much everything, and then let everyone, soak in the soup of chaos, and then they will come back. It was just like, from the Crimea War on, we have experienced this time and time. Because from the Crimean War, about 150 years ago, till now, it has just been a lead up to the big splat. They knew it was coming. They knew it was, so they tried every catastrophe they ever had. They used to, focus their control on everyone else. Just have an economic crash, buy everything for penny on the dollar, have an economic central banking system where for you to borrow money from them, it costs you $20 of interest on a dollar borrowed, and then when you put money in their banks, they pay you a penny of interest on your dollar. So it's kind of right evident in front of you, but most people just are lived on such a fear-based reality that it's hard for them to step out of it, right? Because to step out of fear's reality, you have to realize your life is not about you. It's about the we in me. And that John, well, you go out there and feel comfortable. No, I go out there because I'm called to serve, And my service isn't something that I go on TV and blah, 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 blah. No, my service is every day in every way, And I'm out there, I'm in the supermarket on the line. There's one or two people, that cashier or the person I'm in line with, I can see their energy and say, hey, let me look at your palm, and I give them a cold reading and tell them things that they never told anybody. And here's a guy who doesn't even know them, and I just twigs it like that, and they're like, and so they're like, what? It's like a 2x upside their head, and they're like there. And then I say, okay, so because of this, you need to do that. Because of this, you need to do that. Because of this, you need to do that. And just because I'm telling you need to do this, it's your choice. I'm just your sensei. I'm just here giving you some information that you can use or not use. You are the decider, and all of you in the cadre, you are the deciders. I'm not. I'm your griot. I tell you stories. That make you. I am the 2x upside your head. And that's why I kind of. And while I'm here, and this thing actually still works, I am going to keep, telling you stories, giving you opportunities, and I have close to 2,000 stories up there, and even though it says I only have 1,200 stories, I have close to 2,000, and they're all up there. They're still all. I mean, a few of them, I hit the wrong button and got rid of them. There's a couple that people said, "Oh, you mentioned something I don't want." Okay, so I took that out. So, but very, no more than 4 have I taken out unconsciously or even consciously. It's one I took out because we were talking, and anyway. So, and I'm very sensitive to that. I don't want anybody to feel uncomfortable about anything. I just want you to get stronger and stronger. So whatever you may feel uncomfortable about now, it's not a big deal. It's just a lesson that you've learned. And so I go out there in the world and I talk to people one-on-one, right? Very few times do I step up and take the spotlight. I have. Most recent time when back in 2020, and people kind of going nuts over toilet paper. I was in a store, and it was obvious the corporate, they had 20 checkout places. Normally they have 3 or 4 people at a cash register. There was a zillion people buying up everything. And they had the newbie, one person who had, that was their first day at the cash register. And it was like, forget about it. So the place just got packed with people waiting to buy their shit. And what was really amazing, that I was in a state, Tennessee is a state that you can openly carry your firearm, right? And you can carry your AK with you if you want to. So there were guys in there with their AK slung over their shoulder, right? And their 9mm was on their hip. And there were about 20 people in there with guns. And they were just getting more and more agitated because they were like right next to people, and they hadn't bought a mask yet, and they were freaking out. And then this woman who was in front of me, and I gotten on, again, perfect timing. I saw a zillion people in there. I just went to exactly what I needed, and I was third on line, and then the line started behind me, really getting big, right? And then the woman in front of me, she gets up and she whistles, and about 40 people jump right next to her, and now I'm not third on line, I'm 43rd, and I go, wait a minute. She goes, this is my family. They can come with me. They will come, blah, 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 blah. And I said, no, that's, they on the back of the line. And everyone's, rah, rah, rah. And then the guys with the guns, I turned around and I saw everyone about to kill all those people. I mean, they were going to get their AKs and just shoot the place up and take what they wanted because they were so weak. And I used my outside voice, got their attention, gave them a little, hey, we are here. This is, in love's co-creation, I said the Our Father. I, praised Jesus, and said a few other things that got everyone's attention, and they calmed down. And I looked at the woman. I said, lady, you can do one of two things. You can either, get the fuck out of here, or I will leave and these people will kill you. The only thing standing between your death and your family's death is me. So you either leave right now. Well, I'm not going anywhere. Blah, blah, blah. And then the manager came. I said, buddy, and realized that it was going to be a bloodbath. And so he did. He got all the people who were in the back stacking stuff and taking things off trucks, and he put 5 cash registers. And basically, the people over there, those cashiers, were getting people to line quickly. And I stand between all those asshole people who got in line and those other cashiers because they wanted to go over there. You really? You're really gonna no. Can't even walk, gonna kick him down and step on it, meaning me. No, I'm not moving. Again, here's the third thing. You just stay in line and let this person take, but he doesn't know what he's doing. That's good. You jump in line, that's it, right? So there's still lots of people online, but now they're at least kind of going through, right? So one woman says, so are you a preacher? Are you a man of God? I said, well, at this moment I am. But, all I'm here to do is make sure no one dies today, right? And so the manager came over to me. I had like 3 little things with me. He goes, you can go. Thank you for what you did. You can just have that shit. So I walked out, and by that time, a good third of the people who were there, and a guy who was most likely to pop it off was getting in his car. Like, he had a big, cart full of stuff, and he's unloading into a car. And I said, buddy, and he looked at me and goes, wow, that was pretty amazing what you did. I was going to kill those people. I said, no, that's what I did, what I did. I didn't want you to kill them. A lot of everyone else had a gun. It was a bloodbath. You weren't thinking about that. So you shouldn't be carrying a gun. As well, I want to protect my family. I said, what? This ain't, zombie apocalypse. At least conceal it. Logistically, it's a much better idea to have your weapon concealed rather than open, because those guys who had those AKs in there, someone who really wants a gun will just take it from them and use it on them. And, so I said, So next time I went to that story. I saw a couple of those guys, and they came up, well, that what you did last week, that was amazing. And I said, well, someone had to. It's about, he says, yeah, I know it was going to be a bloodbath. I was scared. And I said, yep. So I felt that. I knew that. I knew I could defuse it. Normally, I don't do that, but I did it. And so, so normally I don't step in the spotlight. I'm not looking for notoriety. If it comes my way, if Love's Co-Creation says, Al, you need to be like, why do you think Joe wrote of a stupid, show called Fear Factor? He does a few other things of that nature. And then bingo, he becomes the biggest thing since sliced bread. Why? A, he's put there for, the corporate entity, the reptile crew of the high hand saw him as a commodity they could use, and they are. They're using that. But Joe is being touched by something he doesn't even understand, and he's being his better self. He's doing his best to do good. And for the rest of it, he was just a pissant, jacking off. As Jimmy Dore says, I'm just a jack-off comedian, right? And so Jimmy is being a little tainted by his angst and, the they and them kind of things. Joe is a thing in his parking lot where he took out his phone and he made a great, all the people who were the haters going after him, trying to deplatform him, he went up and it just, you could see the shadow. It was, he understands photography. He was facing the sun as it was going down. He had his phone in front of him, and you could see the shadow of his hand and his phone like on him. So it's not like he had the crew there with the camera and he was reading off a cue card. His eyes weren't moving. You can tell anyone who's reading from the script. You can see their eyes. Like, why do you think Maddo wears glasses? To conceal her eye moves, right? So, and she could probably be having, the thing on her glasses, anyway, or straight in her cerebral cortex, who knows? You don't understand that technology is so far ahead of what we think. Stuff in that movie, Almost Robot, Almost Human, that shit is here now. Probably, first off, every human being is a biological robot. In the movie The Matrix, that was made, self-evidently clear, right? And the only difference between you in a bathtub being an ever-ready battery and you being down in the underground city and riding around in a toothpaste tube was that you were semi-conscious, not completely. Like you look at our hero, he had to be blinded to be even more conscious, right? And so that's why the nun, crushed my larynx, broke my jaw, broke the orbit of my left eye and crushed the little bones in my right ear. And because it augmented my abilities to see things in a deeper way, right? And to understand time and space, right? Now, I don't have to prove any of this shit, so I don't have to invent an equation, like Einstein did, or like Newton tried. And Newton understood a lot more. He was part of mystery schools, right? And I would say Einstein was more used, meaning, you look at him, in school, he was really not the best of students, distracted, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, bingo, he kind of gets it and writes an equation that he's working as a lowly. I had that job. Peon guy in the patent office. I had that job. Judgmental biddies, good prospects, craziness. Babylonian clone 2. Yep, exactly. All the above. Uh, so, so that's what your lesson of today is the realization of what time is, how to utilize it in a shamanic way, and how to open your hearts to empathy and not judging anyone, which is very difficult. The mud puppet is designed to be judgmental. Now you can, um, I look at things and I assess things. I don't judge them. I assess them. I kind of break them down in these, there's this. Okay, it kind of goes together this way. This is kind of the outcome. And okay, so now is that outcome, coming from being your best or being full of fear and anger and self-loathing, right? And I try to use the solvent of love to break down that fear, anger, self-loathing, right? Distrust and dissolve that, right? So the person, the individual, can be at ease. That is the flow of love. When you're at ease, that is the flow of love. So when you see me talking to John or in any other stressful situation, and people, back in the day when I was just on John's channel, they would, get, oh, you're a saint. You do, no. I was at ease. I was letting love co-create. I was letting love take hold of the controls. There's a great song about this woman who's all stressed out. She's got the baby in the back. She's going through a snowstorm. She hit a patch of ice, and instead of she just puts her hands up and goes, Jesus, take the wheel. Again, every time I hear that song, I cry because it brings me right back to all of the unbelievable tragedies and amazing catastrophes in my life. And the only reason I got through all of them was I put my hands and Jesus, take the wheel. And then when I heard that song, it was like, that's why I love Joni Mitchell so much. I mean, I had this amazing connection with her for a 20-year period that we were just weaving that that double helix. And why do you think I never got to hang? I mean, she could go out with a stone cold drunk jerk and take him away in her limousine and fuck his brains out for 4 days and have him come back, in a new suit and semi-dried out. And she's right next to me, and this person who knew her, who was my friend, and introduced us right there at Puffy's bar, and all I could go was, and then she turned around, went to the John, and then found the drunk at the bottom of the. Why do you think that happened? And then found the drunk at the bottom of the. Why do you think that happened? I was not meant to go with Joni Mitchell. That's why. So I can appreciate her songs, Her album Blue, I thought when it came out, it was written all about me. So you had that happen to you. Well, all of the things that happened to me happened for me for a reason. And that I learned from every catastrophe and heartbreak. And that's why we experience heartbreaks, John was, broken up from his family and from Danica's because he's not meant to be with them. He's meant to, and he keeps saying God wants me to be in this house. Well, he was put here. This is like a timeout. He was put up here, and he's living in the field of one of the most shamanic spiritual things on the planet Earth. And instead of feeling it and understanding it, and why do you think I survived? After dying of spaghetti, after being in Florida for 8 months and having that guy, do all the physical things I needed that colonic therapist for 8 months to, suck all the crap out of my colon. I needed my nutritionist. I needed the acupuncturist. I needed the physical therapist. I needed the endocrinologist. I needed all those people to help me reinstate my homeostasis so I could then let love's co-creation. I mean, it was always there. It understood I needed to go through that. That's why, I was with my second wife for, almost 10 years, and she died in my arms. I needed that experience. And they brought her back from the dead. She was dead for 7 hours. And she came back, and when she came back, she was totally healed of, her heart attack, totally healed from her cancer, totally healed from all the other stuff that was attacking her, and didn't have a trace of any of it. Like when you have a heart attack, especially the massive kind of one she had, all these chemical things that go in your body, and they can say, yep. And that's the thing that really, you can have all the things that looks like a heart attack, arrhythmia, all of that stuff. But the heart attack attacks your heart and destroys it and kills you, or damages it and then, kind of cripples you for life. But if you don't, they give you blood and they do this test and they go, no, you didn't have a heart attack. So everything that she had was gone. The only thing that was left was her amazing amber red hair and her green eyes. Her hair was white. And there's a friend who I talk to a great deal. She, is part of the cadre. And she sent me a number of pictures of her, and she has this dark, wavy hair, right? And when you take my camera and you just keep going in to where you're not looking at her at all, just a chunk of her hair, so it's the way she's facing, chunk of her hair is like flowing down. So on this side, the hair is like going that way, but on this side, it's all there. And when you look at that picture and you go down into the hair, it's all feathers. She's a crone, and she's in her 20s, and she's had all this real problem in her life. And, she got a hold of me and said, I don't know why, but I've been watching your show, and it's really, and so we've had so she and I, I'm her, her sensei, and we have it very individualized. And that's why I keep telling all of you, hey, come to the Dude Awake 42 at Gmail, and we can have a real individual. And she was straight, as honest as any other human I ever met. And she really, when I worked as a shrink for other shrinks and for the state, I only kind of, I like in groups, I would do groups in hospitals and in prisons. And, most of all those people had to be there. But of all those 10 or 20 people in that group, maybe half or 3/4 actually they realized this was an opportunity they could change their life. And they really did the work, right? And so, but the other, 8 people or however many were just, being there, right? And so in this TV show, and I look for it, Almost Human, our police, the guy who's the human, he is went through a horrific thing, right? And he is being used, right? He's got lots of juice and real power, and he's a police detective, and so every police detective gets their own robot, so they can, the first person in through the door is not the human, it's the robot. So the robot gets blown up, it's no big deal because his whatever is up on the cloud, and he can just be given a new, fixed, right? And there were these groups of robots that had a synthetic soul, meaning they were very empathetic. They were like almost human, right? And so because they were almost human, they were a little neurotic. They were a little of this, a little of that, but with the robot body, so the powers that be got, we gotta ace these guys. So they did. And so, and that's the theme. But there's a great scene because this guy is the human police detective has experienced so much that he's basically suffering from PTSD. So there's a great scene, the opening of the show, where he's forced, if he wants to be a policeman, which he does, that's his life, he has to go to group. So he goes. So he's the poster child, the picture of that person that who would be in my group, who is, oh, I'm happy to be here. Yeah, this is really doing great for me. I'm doing, and he would say all the right stuff, but the whole time being passive aggressive and what I would call a Stalinist obstructionist, meaning being that one person that was, you got 20 people there, and the shit he would say would because he would make passive aggressive comments about everyone. So even the ones who are trying to do their best, he would say shit that would and so that's why I dealt with. I mean, I had to deal with stuff like that, and I saw stuff like that happening every day, and I realized this is a dynamic, and so I was fine with doing that work. I was good at it. I could, even those 10 to 20% of the group, I could deal with them, right? Because what I would do is I would have the kids' table over here. I put them over there because I could read them like a book. And the 80% or the 50% who really hit bottom and wanted to change their life, I would, right? And I'd also take anyone individually, right? So I would get the group going, and I would use the Iroquois Great Law mechanism of each time we met, there would be a facilitator, a vibes watcher, a scribe, a gatekeeper, right? So facilitator would be like me. I would just be there, right? The vibe watcher would be like me. Like if things got carried, they had the authority. Okay, everyone breathe, shut up. We're going to be quiet. We're going to meditate. The scribe wrote the shit down. And the gatekeeper wouldn't let the Stalinist obstructionists in the circle. They had to be in the kids' circle, and sometimes it changed. Sometimes those 80%, they would get drawn down into their lower vibration, and they would, for a number of circles, they would, so, okay, kids table. And so, that's how I worked. And that worked really great, and on individual. So I started working through a private practice that was about 8 guys, and they controlled psychotherapy in a very large portion of the state that I was in. And they saw me doing this in prisons. They saw me doing this in mental institutions that they were part of, but they didn't want to and get people out of their neuroses. They came to me and said, oh, you need to be part of our group, and if you join us, we'll get you more certifications and more gratifications, and you'll be, you can. So I did, because I saw they had the power in a number of states, in the one I was working in, and they were on all the boards of all these institutions I worked in, and so sure, to go work for them. It's a great opportunity for me to get deeper and deeper into how this whole dark thing works, right? And I still did it my way, and they would say, everything they didn't want to do, even in their business cycle, they'd have me do. So I would do a lot of the family and business family problems, right? And I was really good. I could, within 5 sessions, I could get everything kumbaya, and people could get on with their lives. And at one point, after I'd been there about 6 months, and I had been within the whole structure of psychotherapy in that state and the 3 states around it, and everyone thought, oh well, that's going to be his career, right? And I was in my 40s, and I was, and if I stayed there, I could be on TV, I could, be on the Donahue Show or whatever. And so at a certain point, the guy who was the head of everything, owned the business. Yes, he had partners, but he owned it. And, he had the 51%. The other guys and gals who were on the board, well, they did it because now they're making lots of money, and they're having power within their own structure, and they can build their own little hamlet of power, authority, and wealth, and so they could feel safe. And all those people were, totally whacked out on fear and anger, and they were all basically part of the sociopathic structure. So the head guy, who was head of the, he was not only on the head of the State Bureau of shrinkydom, but he was on the Medical Bureau, and he was on the CDC, and he was on everything. He was one of those people. He had his talons and everything. He came to me and said, "Listen, you are really great at this. I haven't seen anybody who has the talent, skill, and empathy that you do. You got the total mix, but you have to realize this is an institution, and you can't just do whatever the heck you want to do. Even though your stats are amazing, you get better results than anybody, even me, because I'm not doing it anymore. I'm just wielding power. But what you can't just fix these people and then let them go within 5 visits, because that's hurting our business model. This is a business. We're making money at these people suffering, and you have to keep them here for years. We need the money." I said, "What?" He goes, "Listen, if you need the money, I'll give you a raise. I see that you're in this little hovel, and you're in a neighborhood that it's not safe, and you're driving that beat up vehicle. No, you want a new car? No problem. You want to live in a nice apartment? Not a problem. You want to be exposed to really amazing things and have all the women you want? Not a problem. But you got to stop being this really powerful emissary of love to the masses. We can't have that. And if you do this, you'll be on the board of this company. You'll be making more money than you've ever seen. Not a problem. You'll be like me. You'll be my wingman." And I said, "What?" I said, "No way, Jose. Be like you? I quit." And he was like, he was not expecting that. I quit. He goes, "You quit what? You've just spent 4 years in this whole thing. You are credentialed. You have an amazing pedigree. You're what is established, and you're going to be wealthy and powerful." And I said, "Be like you?" "No, I quit." He said, you can't just quit." I said, "What do you mean?" "I changed unbelievably. You're at a place where you are really right. And if I am taken out of your life, I'm getting you to a place that you've already gotten to. Well, it'll be fine. But it would be to your own behoove if you go and take my shows and put them on secure mediums, not up in the cloud, but on and even maybe in your hard drive or your computer. I mean, there's going to be the only way they can bring down the internet and have a real super duper false flag is if they do an EMP, and they can do that. They experimented with that in the 50s. They detonated a hydrogen bomb, super high electromagnetic output in Australia, up in the troposphere. And that's why the people are dropping like flies from the UV in Australia, because they destroyed, the ozone above Antarctica and above, that whole part of the Pacific. And because they wanted to see, and this was in late 50s, early 60s, they did it twice. And when they did it twice, it sun to create time vortexes, right? And so and that's also it. They, the Nazis and other people had developed the technology to beam people from here to there. Tesla did, and that was limited by the amount of power you could generate. Well, if you can tap the power of the sun in a controlled way, then you can do almost anything. I mean, that's basically a black hole there, unlimited power there. And that's the cheap shot, instead of just using a 0 point energy, tapping, on transformers, where, the power comes in and the power comes out on the load. The power comes in on the line side, load is on the other side. And the load side, they call taps. It's like, in England, the faucets they have are called taps, because that water, in essence, is coming from the main line, right? And so in a transformer, it's called a transformer because it transforms the current. And the high voltage is just a carrier wave, right? And so it goes into transformer, gets transformed into current that the taps can send out to the marketplace, right? Yep, the Chiron energy. Yep, yep, buffering. Yep. Well, yep, yep, buffering. Yep. Well, the more I talk about this stuff, the more I'm going to buffer. Oh, well, I guess I'm going to go. I'll talk to you later. Do, 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 do. I'll come on. Right now it's 2 o'clock. I'll come on earlier, like before 6. Okay. Okay. I'm going to sit here and write.